Welcome to the Foster Your Passion podcast, where entrepreneurs, who are mostly women, share their passions, their lessons, and leave you feeling uplifted, motivated, and possibly even inspired to go and foster your own passion. I'm your host, Haley Foster, and this is the Foster Your Passion podcast. Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Foster Your Passion podcast. I'm super excited to be here today with the beautiful Tony, and we are going to talk all things crush your engagement on social media. And I met Tony a couple of weeks ago in Nashville, not even a couple of weeks ago, like 10 days ago in Nashville. And I have to say, when one person that loves Excel meets another person that loves Excel, it's just like a marriage made in heaven. And so here we are recording a podcast because you, my friend, have amazing things to offer to this world. So I truly appreciate you giving me some of your time today. Welcome.
Thank you. I am overjoyed to be here. It is so great to see your face and to talk to you. I've missed you. And I'm really excited to talk to your listeners about growing communities. So that's what I'm here to do today.
Awesome. Tell me a little bit about your journey, or tell them about your journey, because I know a little bit of the piece of it, but I want to hear it from you.
Well, I was in corporate sales for 10 years. So I did the whole corporate thing when I was in my 20s and 30s. And then I got married and moved to Washington State. So I became a PE and business professor. So I did that for 15 years. And then I became a whistleblower at one of the colleges where I was a professor. And then COVID hit. And those things simultaneously happened. And it was the best thing that could have happened because I was being gaslit in my place of business. We had new administration. The whole thing was a mess. So when COVID hit and I could teach online, I just worked through that and decided, you know what? I love teaching. It's my jam, but I don't think I want to do it for that organization anymore. It was just dragging me down. So I took a deep dive into Instagram because it was so much fun and I really wanted to understand it. And what I learned was that I was able to transfer my natural ability, I guess you'd say, of communicating, creating relationships and connecting people onto Instagram. And people said, oh my gosh, you're really good at engagement. And so I said, okay, that's what I'm going to do. And then I started doing engagement for other people. And I realized two things. Number one, that my personality is way too strong to do engagement for other people. Because it's like my...
And why is that, Tony?
So
why is that? Were you engaging in a not so soft way?
I'm just excited. You know my personality. I'm super excited. I'm, a lot of energy and, it just takes over sometimes. So I realized that wasn't my jam. And then I also realized that doing engagement for other people is a lot more than just engaging. You had to have content that stopped the scroll, content that people were interested in reading. And I went, oh, I need to take a deep dive into copywriting and design. So I spent the next year learning copywriting, learning design, because I was an academic writer. So that was a big difference. And it was a big challenge for me to change my language. And then I created this product called Crush It on Social. And it was a combination of engagement, data analytics, because I'd been tracking all my data for a year and a half, and I knew exactly what was working and what wasn't. And then that content piece. And I created a program for business owners. And what I learned from that is that they didn't want to do it. They wanted me to do it. And so I started thinking, well, who's really interested in this? And it's social media managers who are struggling, that they don't have that business knowledge piece and they don't understand copywriting. So I'm creating a certification program for social media managers. And I have a done for you program for business owners that want done for you content and a really simple engagement plan. So that's what I'm doing now. Super fun.
All right. We need to clarify two things. One, when you say whistleblower, you mean you are a gym teacher?
No, it was an administrator. It was in the PE department. He was the athletic. Gosh.
Right, but you don't mean I was blowing the whistle on things that were happening. Because when you said whistleblower to me is something you see in the movie that's turning in the bad guys.
That's what I did, basically. There was a guy that was, he was bullying women and classified staff. And he was isolated in a building where no one knew about it. And I was required by law. I watched it for several years. I endured some of it, even though he wasn't my boss. And finally, push came to shove and there was a situation where I had to move forward, I had to go forward and report him. And I had 10 people that had quit, that had given me their stories and said they would talk. They wanted this guy out. He was stealing. He was breaking a lot of rules. And so I went forward because it was required. And then I was gaslit because he threatened to sue, and he used the race card to do that. And no one had mentioned race. It wasn't about that. It was about his behavior. And I was gaslit for 2 years and
Okay, wow.
blocked.
So I took that completely differently. So
I'm so glad that
interesting.
we talked about it. I hate to talk about that piece because it's really negative, but it really did impact why I'm doing what I'm doing now, because I really didn't have any intention of being a business owner. I wanted to work for companies and do consulting that way. So I kind of went kicking and screaming into the entrepreneurial world because I knew that I know what it takes to build a business, and I know the reasons for failure because I have a master's degree in global business. And I knew it would be a really big challenge, the challenge of my life. And I wasn't sure if I was up for it. So I wasn't sure I could do it. And as I go each day and I meet more people and I learn every single day, I'm learning that, yes, I have the skills that I need. It's just going to take time, and it's going to take a team of people when I can get there. So yeah, try not to talk about that
All
other
right.
part.
Wow. Well, I'm sorry for going down that path, but I'm happy that I did, because you know what? I feel like sometimes the universe throws us into situations that helps us to really find the thing that we're truly passionate about. And
Oh,
I
true.
have met you in person, and I will say that this is something that you are truly passionate about. And when you say that you tracked your content for an extended period of time, I've seen that content tracking document, and it absolutely blew me away. You are like, I mean, you're out of this world in terms of the amount of time it probably took you to like keep that document going and flowing is just amazing.
The
So,
weird thing is, once it was created and once I put the formats in and the formulas and all that stuff in, it takes me literally 2 minutes to record my data in the morning. So it's no time at all once you've created a habit and kind of a
yeah.
system for doing it, because you fall to the level of your habits, which is one of my biggest entrepreneurial issues. But once it was done and created, it was super easy. And that's what I want businesses to know, that you can track this stuff really quick, and you can track metrics that Instagram doesn't give you that are really important to know to be able to create content that really gets results. So it's
Well,
really
I'm
fun.
super
As you
excited. We're
know,
going to touch on that in a few minutes, but I love this story really about your journey. And so, as somebody that has a master's in global business, like, what was one of the biggest fears for you jumping into this business?
probably that I wouldn't have the resources and the skills, because as an entrepreneur, it's best to bootstrap. It's not good to get a loan because you don't know what you don't know. And there's so many factors that go into building a business. Even those first few things you do, like deciding what your product is and what problem that you solve. That's the first thing. Then you have to figure out, why are you doing this? What's your mission? What's your vision? And I knew what my vision was, but I couldn't reconcile it with what my mission was, how to make money. And then you have to figure out, okay, now I know what I want to do. And then who am I talking to? And that took a year to figure that out. And then you have to brand yourself or have someone do it for you. And that's a huge challenge. And if you get it wrong, it doesn't work. So making those mistakes, my biggest fear was that I just wouldn't be equipped to be able to handle it all. And sure, things do fall through the cracks. They do. But as I move forward, my business becomes more successful. I'm now starting to think about hiring team members to help me so that I can not have things fall through the cracks. So
That is
fear.
awesome. Yeah. And that is a very legitimate fear. I think so we all have that going through this journey. And so, with hopefully women that are listening to this podcast and finding inspiration, like, where do you find your inspiration to keep it going? Right. Because there's days when we're all like putting our heads between our legs and being like, I'm done. I don't know if I want to do
Totally.
this anymore.
Totally. That's one of the biggest challenges with doing an online business, is that isolation and that feeling like you're all alone. And I felt that a lot in the beginning. The beginning months, I didn't know what I was doing. I was feeling like a failure, right? And what I did was I started reaching out to my community, and that's where the engagement piece started in the very beginning. Was I was reaching out to people that had accounts about my size, and I'd be saying, "What's happening with the algorithm with you? My hashtags aren't working," or blah blah, whatever it is, or "I'm just really struggling today." And we'd hop on a chat, and compare notes. And that would raise my spirits and it would help me to know that I'm not alone and that other people are going through the same thing. And as a result, I've developed a core tribe online of about, I don't know, 1,000 people that are my closest friends, because my account's 6.5K as of yesterday. But about 1,000
Awesome.
people.
Congrats. I saw that another milestone in the books for you.
Thank you. And I mainly post them so that my community can see the speed at which an account grows from beginning. So they aren't like doing what I did. How long is it going to take me to get here? What's happening with the algorithm there? So it gives people hope that, okay, it's slowed down. It goes in cycles. I'm going to be okay. And that's, for me, the biggest thing was finding that tribe of people that I could talk to and I could reach out to. I could cry to, I could commiserate, and they could say, stop whining, get to work, do your thing. And sometimes you just need a kick in the butt.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And, it's so important. Like, I just spoke to Monica
Love
Van
her.
Landingham. We just did our podcast recording. I know you guys will probably be like a week apart in terms of when I post these. But we were talking about, similarly is like really engaging and making sure that you are in touch with those people that are constantly supporting you on social.
Yeah.
And so my question for you is, how did you go about finding that tribe? We were talking about like using like obviously like your name and things like that or searchable, but like, how did you go about finding the right people to connect with on social?
Well, I take a really different approach, and it's an approach that is against what all the gurus say. They say, go out to the hashtags, go out to your explore page. And what I found was, even in the real world, when I'm networking, when I make friends with you and you introduce me to your friend, they're more likely to like want to be friends with me, right? So I started just staying in my community. I would go into my follower, I would go into their post comments and I would see who's funny, who do I like, who do I resonate with, and I would comment on their comment on my friend's post. So that does two things. It makes a friend for me and it increases engagement on my friend's post. So that's really important. And it's not stealing a follower. That's such a crock of bull. I hate to say it, but it is because
Yeah. Yeah.
there's no stealing. There's people will resonate with who they resonate with. So it doesn't matter. So I would
Absolutely.
make friends with them. And then if I really liked them and they commented back to my comment, I might go over to their content and see, does it resonate with me? Is it good? And usually it is. Because when I hit it off with somebody in someone else's comments, we have something in common. And then I'll comment on their content and I'll let them know and I'll send them a DM. And when I send a DM to somebody that I don't know, it's with no expectations. It's, hey, Joe, I really appreciated your comment in such and such's post. I took a peek at your content and I binged for about 20 minutes, which I, don't have time for, but I did anyway. And I wanted you to know that your content is so good that I'm excited to join your community and follow you. And I don't expect you to follow me back. So I just wanted you to know that I made a connection with you. You're a cool guy or woman, and I love your content. And I just wanted you to know that. And the funny thing is, usually they follow me back and they send me I usually do a voice note, send me a voice note or a voice message back that says, hey, I like your content too. I like you. You're fun. Let's connect. And and that's how the relationship starts sometimes. Or they'll reach
I
out to
love it. And
me.
one
Yeah.
of the things I have to say about your content is that it is not your beautiful face. You have you're a beautiful woman
Not at all.
and you are not posting you in order to get engagement on your posts. And I truly appreciate that. And funny enough, a lot of times it took me a long time to start posting about myself and putting my own face out there. I mean, I would do it here and there.
Mhm.
Um, but I will find that like I posted a picture of Brian and I 2 days ago when we were away, and it has been the most engaged with carousel post I've ever posted.
Oh my
And it
gosh.
because it starts with a like this nice picture of my husband and I. And I always say to him, every time I post your face on my Instagram business page, I get so much more love than when I'm just posting like me or just a content post. I was just telling Tony that I posted a picture the other day of my husband and I, and we got a ton of engagement on it, more engagement than I get on most of my other posts that are, I always feel, are like content rich or give people something to save. But this post, for some reason, just did so incredibly well. And I'm wondering, like, what your thoughts are on it. I mean, it was a nice picture for sure. I mean, we're like in Mexico, we're tan, we're dressed up, but And it also reaches a very different audience. I found that so bizarre. Yeah. Yeah. I think there was actually a picture of me on your on your feed one day. I was like, "Wow, my photo is on your feed." Yes. Oh, so fun. I was like, "Wow, I made it to Tony's feed. That's so exciting." Uh, I was very excited about it. Meanwhile, that reel is, doing really well. I think I looked at it before with when I was on Monica, and it's, like, over 12,000 views. Yeah, but I've never had a reel do that much. Yeah, yeah. Absolutely. I love it, and I think that's a really important point also is, to be engaging, I think you really have to engage, and I, for a long time, was not very vulnerable or not myself I wouldn't say I wasn't myself, but I don't think you got Haley in my social media, like, I was using my podcast or something else to really put myself out there, and you get, like, the real dose of, like, who I am and what I'm all about, but I wasn't being me. I look, like, very professional, not that I'm not professional, but, I mean, you met me in real life, so you know, like, who I am. I drop a lot of F-bombs and I have a potty mouth and I'm kind of funny and inappropriate at times. And that's me, but I wasn't doing that and being like my silly, goofy self on social media. I was being more like, hey, want to grow your business? Here I am. I also wasn't talking the pain points and doing all the really important things that you should be doing on social media. I wasn't thinking about it from that standpoint. But now that I'm much more educated, I feel like I am doing the things, and my account is growing, not incredibly fast. It's slow and steady for me, which is fine. Slow and steady sometimes wins the race, but we'll see. Yeah, 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 yeah. No, for sure. Yeah, but listen, your account is beautiful. I love your feed. I love your color scheme, which I know is a mistake. We have well, it's not so hot pink. It's more like a darker pink, right? It's it's almost like it's like a Merlot. It's like a red blend, right? Here's a lesson that I've taken from you because I feel like it started like right around the time we started following each other when I learned you were coming to Nashville. And I loved how clean and poppy your posts were. So I was trying to like, let's make it pretty. Let's put some colors in it. Like I do stick to the same color format. If you scroll through my feed, it's very consistent. But I realized like it wasn't scroll stopping, right? And so now I've gone from maybe a lot of words on the first slide to very few words with like a question or a statement that hopefully is going to stop the scroll. So, yeah, 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 yeah. Unless they're like, why is Haley in this colorful, bright dress with a palm tree behind her? Which is a picture of Brian and I. I think that was sort of I guess, was scroll stopping because so many people liked it. But so tell me, like, what kind of tips can you give the people that are listening today for them to start crushing their engagement on social media? Wow. Yeah. Absolutely. It's a learning curve that is constantly not curving. Like it's just learn, 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 change the algorithm, learn, learn, learn. It's like thank you Instagram for constantly making me work for having to do the things that I do. So I totally I'm constantly learning, and what's funny is that I have somebody that's helping me now on social media. I gave her your page to take a look at so that she can learn from you in terms of how to be more engaging and all of the amazing tips that you put out there into the world. So I appreciate you for doing that. Where do you go for your inspiration? Like who are you looking to that inspires you in terms of their social? Mhm. Aw. Right. Yeah, that's what I love about you. So important. And I will say, like, one of my favorite things that you said is sort of like stay in your lane, right? My biggest takeaway from our conversation today, Tony, is I am going to go stalk some people on social media and make more friends. So, yay! I'm going to go do some stalking when we're done recording this podcast, and I'll let you know how that goes. Okay. All right, awesome. Well, I truly appreciate you taking time today to record with me. This has been super fun and so much amazing content was dropped for my audience. So I really appreciate you and your time. And again, I'm so happy we were able to finally get a picture of us in the same screen together. So thank you. Yes. Absolutely. Don't go anywhere. I'm going to hit the stop button and this is going to do what it does. Thank you again so much. And everybody else, tune in next time for more Foster Your Passion podcast. Thanks for tuning in. I'm your host, Haley Foster, and I hope you'll join me next time for more inspiring women who are fostering their passions each and every day. Please subscribe wherever you download your podcast and follow us on social media at Fostering 101.